Hello, my name is Jeremy. This is Red Beans Recording. Welcome to Modular Monday, and today we're going to be looking at the very interesting, very cool 4ms Spherical Wavetable Navigator. Here's some of the stuff that we'll be doing. The interesting thing about the 4ms Spherical Navigator is that it's a 6-voice self-contained synthesizer. You don't need anything else to make this work. It's wild. You could slap this in a little pod and you'd have a very, very interesting and capable drone machine, but also a whole lot more. So I just brought in the 6 voices. They're all tuned to the same thing right now. Let's go ahead and just explore the pitch options real quick. Over here you have octave. You can also change the scale, and that's going to affect the spread over here. I can transpose all of the notes at once, or I can hold this down and we're going to get spread amongst a scale. That's pretty, right? So now each one of these notes is tuned to a different pitch, and we can actually see that down here. See the way those little indicators change? Pretty nice, right? So we're in drone mode right now, and all of these notes are being triggered at once. Here's what the wavetable sounds like that I'm currently in. Wavetable is a linear expression of a series of timbres that you can move through. Those that use Serum and other wavetable synthesizers are probably comfortable with the idea of a wavetable. We'll actually record a custom wavetable from here later into this, which is a very, very cool feature that it does. Let's go ahead and turn on the LFO to VCA and hear this in a more rhythmic context. Let's turn up our LFO speed. So now what's happening is this LFO speed is triggering through each one of these voices. Each one of these voices has its own LFO, and we can adjust the speed and shape of those individual LFOs. Let's go ahead and listen to some of the LFO shapes real quick. This thing is extremely visual in that each one of these colors actually means something, and as we move through the LFO shapes for all of these at once, we'll hear a change. Blue represents a ramp down shape, and we're getting smaller and smaller. Ramp up, and we'll get smaller and smaller. We have sine waves and other shapes as well. So let's go back to our ramp down, and let's start experimenting with different speeds on these and different shapes. Before we do that, let me show that we can tune each one of these notes and also place them within the wavetable in a different place by holding down these up here. Now let's tune them. So you can build your own custom. These sliders control the volume of each one. Let's go ahead and start experimenting with LFO speeds and shapes. So we'll start with voice 1. Let's change it to a different speed and shape. This clicky trend right here. If I take an output from Divcade's OCHD module and plug it into the VCA input of this, an external signal is now controlling the overall volume of that, so you can create modulations on top of the rhythms that are going on in here, which is really cool. The other thing you can do is plumb any one of these LFOs here, for instance this one, and plug it into any of these so you can have it self-modulate. Some of these are going to be a little extreme, but we'll check them out anyways. That's pretty nice. We've already talked about using this down here to browse through the current wavetable. Let's go ahead and browse through all of the other spheres or wavetable choices in here. Now let's go ahead and add some effects, because at this point, I think you've heard this dry enough. Now we're going to clock this. So you can see we have a clock in here. So I'm going to grab a clock off of Tempi. We're going to clock this to an external beat. Let's go ahead and remove our modulation for now. Let's go ahead and bring in a kick drum so you can hear this against a beat. And we can now browse some other wavetables. Because wavetables tend to be very rich in harmonic content, we're generally going to get some pretty bright sounds out of this. I prefer the mellow side of the 4ms, but it can get pretty wild, and I'll make sure to show you some of that in a bit. Remember, I can control the overall LFO speed of this whole thing by turning this. So now that we're clocked, let's go ahead and adjust these to a different wave shape for each one. Huge range of tones and rhythms available to you through this. It's kind of astounding. This fine button up here will allow us to fine control some of the things that are on here. One of the most interesting ones is sort of a detuned spread, so I'll show you that right now. If I hold down fine, hold down transpose, I can start spreading these in microtonal steps. Which gives us a nice chorusing effect. It sounds really good on saws. Fine plus this will allow us to move through the wavetable much slower and dial in exactly in the sphere where we want to be. Much faster if we do it like that. Fine plus LFO speed will give us non-integer div mults of our speed, in case we want to go off beat. Fine plus LFO gain will adjust the overall amplitude of each of the LFOs. And gain on its own will give you control over that. You can adjust the phase of the LFOs. And fine plus phase, we'll do fine-tuning of those. Same thing with dispersion and latitude. We can save presets and load presets down here. If I just move this, I will load a preset. You can see I have 2 loaded here, or saved here. So let me go ahead and just load this one. And same with this one. I can save presets too by holding this down, moving to a new slot, and then pressing it until it saves. If I was to press that right now, it would save. Let's go ahead and make a few more patterns before we get into recording wavetables. I just want to make some more demos real quick. Alrighty, so now we're going to record our own wavetables into here. I have Hydrasynth plugged in via the, where is it? The waveform in. And we're going to start off by recording a simple saw wave in here so I can show you some of the effects. So we're going to hold down load preset and push all 3 of these. Now we are in wavetable record mode. So see it record. Now we can change the effects. So we're going to hold down this. We've got a wave folder, a bit decimator, a metalizer, a low pass filter, which is really useful because wavetables can get pretty, what's the word, gnarly. This is a gain normalizer and a seam smoother across the different wavetables. So let's go ahead and make some changes to our wavetable. and then save it. All right, so we just saved that wavetable to our user bank. Unfortunately, we lost our transpose stuff, so let's go ahead and spread again. So really easy to make custom wavetables. Let's go ahead and record a more complex one. I'm going to design a little wavetable preset on the ASM over here. Okay, let's record that in. It's going to auto pick up when it hears a note, so we're going to just scan through the wavetable real quick, which is actually pretty dope. So, record mode, record. It's going to wait, and then we're going to scan through our wavetable. Now we have it. Now we can apply effects if we want. To pick a new slot, hold, and save it there. And now we can scan through the wavetable we just created. This is one of the coolest functions of this device, being able to make custom wavetables. I actually really like that one. Before we finish up here, I just want to show you one more really cool thing. Very useful in this case. Load preset when held down, and accessing almost anything here will reset it. So, I've just reset the wavetable. I can reset the spread. I can reset the octave. I can reset the LFO speed. I can reset the LFO shapes. And then I can easily get back to something more interesting. On a final note, we talked about tuning and changing each one of these to a position in the current sphere or wavetable, but each one of these can actually pull from a different sphere. So by holding this down and turning browse, I can have it select a completely different wavetable to travel through. Which gives you very wild diversity. And now, if we choose to travel through the sphere with an LFO, these are all going to have very wildly shifting timbres. So that's my walkthrough of the 4ms Spherical Wavetable Navigator. It's an amazing device. It's just packed with really, really, really interesting stuff and is constantly surprising me. You can go very rhythmic, you can go very beautiful and drone, as I tend to do with it. And in this setup here, it just lends itself super, super well to the kind of music I like to make. If you have any questions that I haven't addressed here, or tips and tricks that you have with this, I would really love to hear them, because it's one of those devices that, you know, there's so many different sweet spots, you may miss them as you sort of like start to develop your own workflow. So do tell, I'd love to hear them. Hey, thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you'd like to see all of these jams unedited, sort of, you know, without me talking and just listen to this thing, head on over to my second channel and check out the video there. I'll sort of edit these all together as just sort of a listening compilation, and maybe that's your thing. Thanks for watching again. Take care.